and he's here. So I'm not going to take you a lot of time. So just a little bit of an introduction. This seminar is sponsored by the Yale Biotechnology and Pharmaceutical Society, and we organize a seminar series on finance. And this is our third lecture. And today we have a really special guest, Peter Schiff. Peter is a man of many things. He is a very successful businessman. He bought Euro-Pacific Capital, which had no clients, and he grew it into a huge brokerage firm with thousands of clients and 6 offices nationwide. He is also a best-selling author with 2 best-selling investment books, including the newly investment book called Crash Proof 2.0, and also the little book of Bull Moves in Bear Markets. And he is also widely credited for foretelling the current financial crisis. If you go on YouTube, you'll probably see him all around the internet. The single video Peter Schiff is right has gathered more than 1 million of views. And all the videos you see in there that gathered millions of people view. So with that, let's join me in welcoming Peter Schiff.
Thanks everybody. Sorry for being late. You'll also have to bear with me. I've got a cough and a bit of stomach virus or something, so I'm not really in great shape today. But I made it anyway. I'd like an opportunity to speak to students, particularly students of a university that rejected me when I tried to go here as an undergraduate. But anyway, and a lot of the younger people are certainly finding out. A lot about economics now. And I had a question recently from a reporter that wanted to know, why is it that so many younger people are following me and know about me? Because when I first started to go on television and write things, I didn't have your demographic in mind as a target. I was looking for clients. I wanted people to seek me out because they agreed with what I was saying, and they wanted to invest along those lines. So I'm looking for people 30s, 40s, 50s, retired, who have substantial net worths to protect. But along the way, I managed to attract the attention of a lot of young people, a lot of high school students, college kids, not just in the United States, but all around the world. And there are a lot of people now that are thinking straight, that are thinking clearly, and that wasn't the case. The number of young people who seem to understand economics, Austrian economics, compared to previous generations. And the reporter said, why do I think that is? And I think it's all about the internet. Because when I was growing up, I had the kids didn't have access to this information. The only thing we heard is what our teachers told us, and the teachers didn't know anything. They were all indoctrinated by their teachers and the Keynesian nonsense, and so they heard the establishment perspective from their professors. They heard it on ABC or CBS News. They heard what the government wanted them to know about. They never heard any of this. But now with the internet, kids can bypass all those filters. That they can get information from other sources, and when they learn the truth, it makes sense. And I'm sure that college professors all around the country are having to deal with argumentative students. Because I remember one of the things about me is I always argued with my professors. Because I had my head on straight from the beginning because of my dad. He showed me, he introduced me to these concepts when I was probably in junior high school. And so by the time I went to UC Berkeley. And when I was there, their attempts to indoctrinate me didn't work. But I know a lot of people, even before I started, going on television and getting some degree of fame, people would still contact me, and they would ask, I went to college with you. Do you remember me? And I said, no, I don't remember them. But the reason that people always remembered me is because I always argued with the teachers. So they would remember the kid that argued, but the other kids were fitting in. But now I'm sure there's a lot of Peter Schiffs, hopefully some of them in Yale history classes or economics classes or poli-sci classes that are arguing with the professors. But I want to talk to you guys about 2 things. One is my Senate race and the way potentially you can help me with that. mean, obviously, everybody here can vote for me, so I got how many votes? But that's number one. Also, you can volunteer. You know, my headquarters is not too far away. It's up in Milford. It's probably, 10 minutes from here, 10, 15 minutes tops. And so, you know, volunteers, I think, could really make a big difference. We've got a lot of volunteers with the campaign, but we need more. And, you know, this is really the type of campaign that you could get enthusiastic about. I wish there was a candidate like me running when I was your age, and I would have been very active. And maybe we wouldn't be in this mess today if we had had candidates that understood these things, you know, years ago. But I don't think there's anybody else who's run for office in the state of Connecticut that, you know, where you've had this much at stake, where there actually was somebody who you can believe in and who you can count on, that if you actually elect me, that I'm going to do what I say. You know, I'm not interrupting my career in the private sector to go to Washington and just fall in line with the Republican Party leadership and just, you know, do what they say and get along with the establishment. I mean, why would I do that? There's no incentive for me to do that. I'm only going to Washington because the country's in serious trouble, and I think that I can go there and maybe do something about it. And if I can't, I can't. But that's what I'm going to try to do. And I'm not looking to stay in Washington. I'm not looking to make the Senate my career. I'm hoping to get out of there in one 6-year term. And from my perspective, if I can't make the difference that I need to make in 6 years, I think it's a lost cause. I don't think the country has 6 years to get its act together. You know, we need to. You know, it might fall apart before I get there. But, you know, if I'm there, at least I think we have a fighting chance. And so, to the extent that you guys can work to help make that a reality, you know, first I got to get the Republican nomination, and there are two other candidates running against me. You've got, you know, it's your typical career politician, you know, lifelong bureaucrat, and then you have another entrepreneur like me, who's not a politician, who is, you know, from outside the political sphere, who's been in business her whole life. But I just don't think she has the relevant understanding of economics and the relevant experience to do what needs to be done. And I don't think that, you know, she's just capable of pulling off a revolution within the Republican Party. I think she more wants to be a senator for whatever reason, but we don't just need another senator. We've got 100 senators, and look at the trouble that we're in. You know, we need somebody who doesn't want to be a senator, who's going there for the right reasons, and hopefully, if I get there, I can be persuasive, and I can, you know, have conversations one at a time with the other senators, and basically lay it out, and let them understand what the stakes are, and that they can't keep, you know, putting their own careers ahead of the national interest, and they can't keep following the advice of the people whose advice led to this collapse. I mean, I can look at these guys, you know, looking at Ben Bernanke, you know, as if he's bringing down his, you know, his economic, you know, advice on tablets, you know, from science. He's never been right. He's gotten everything wrong. And it's not just that I'm saying that. You could just look back and see what he said. He's never gotten anything right. Neither has Dyson. There are a number of people who are advising our leaders who have constantly gotten it wrong. They need to start listening to somebody who got it right. And maybe I can convince them of that fact. And I think, you know, you guys, you know, this is your country. You know, you're going to be growing up here. You're going to be looking to start businesses and grow your lives. And I don't think you're going to be able to do it if we don't make these changes. You know, the young man who introduced me mentioned that I, you know, basically started my business from scratch. And I can already say right now that nobody can do that in this room unless they have very wealthy parents. But I didn't. I did it with very little money. But the amount of regulation that exists right now, that didn't exist when I started, it's so horrific. The costs are so burdensome that if I hadn't already reached the level that I'm at, I couldn't afford to be in business. I wouldn't have the resources. The government has now put these hurdles in place. So there's nobody. If someone says to me, well, I'd like to start my own brokerage firm, I say, forget it. Don't even bother. You're not going to be able to do it. There are different things that you can do instead, but who knows? You know, the more the government raises the bar, the harder it's going to be for people to achieve. And if we don't do something about it soon, then, you know, the best advice I'm probably going to have for students is, you know, to learn Mandarin and, you know, get a passport, because that's where you're probably going to have to go. I mean, this country was founded by immigrants. You know, you had waves of people from all over the world that came to this country because we were the freest country in the world. That's where opportunity was, because we had the freedom. we had limited government, we had low taxes, we had few regulations.